They could be up to 13 feet high with 10 feet tusks. So what could have caused the huge woolly mammoth to completely die out? Find out in Extinct After Driven.
Oh, I don't know, Jason. I just want more from a family car.
More what, Pen? More comfy seats?
Yeah, maybe, but no, I'm thinking more
Space. More what? More power, that's what you want.
Yeah, but more...
More mirrors, you want more mirrors.
Space.
Mirrors? No, I don't want more mirrors.
More sound, you want a bigger sound system.
No.
Cup holders?
No.
White clean surfaces? How about them spring things out your park?
Space! More space for people! More space to carry stuff! I don't want a bigger car, I want a more spacious car to carry the little things. Space! I want more of it. What? Blimey!
Driven space racing suburbia? What's all that about?
Tonight on Driven, have Jaguar finally thrown off their old-fashioned image with the new X-Type?
Is the minted Mercedes SL a ray of sunshine?
And does size really matter? That's tonight's Driven 100.
But before we get going, big congratulations to our Jason, who's just won the British Touring Car Championship in his Vauxhall Astra.
After a thrilling final race at Brands Hatch where he faced torrential rain and span off the track, leaving him trailing in 13th position, our Jace battled through the pack into second place and clinched the championship outright.
After 5 years of being a close contender, he finally hit the mark. Well done, Jace, we're dead proud. Now here's the Driven 100.
So you want something that's practical yet stylish and can cope with everything a family can throw at it. In the race for space, manufacturers have pumped up their traditional hatchbacks to outlandish proportions, which means they can take on that new kid in the cul-de-sac, the Mini MPV. First up, the Honda Civic. This 7th generation of the Civic is bigger on the inside than the Accord Saloon.
Our executive model comes with all sorts of gizmos, all for under 14 grand. So there you go, sometimes you do get more than you bargain for.
Peugeot started with a clean sheet of paper with this new 307. Larger than its predecessor, the 306, its emphasis is on space, safety and quality.
With Peugeot's reputation for building fine hatchbacks and a 12.5 grand price tag, you'd be brave to bet against it coming out on top.
Look, if space is the place, then why compromise? The Citroen Picasso is currently the UK's top-selling Mini MPV, and with cashback deals, you can get one for around 12 grand. With the space and the price, those blown-out hatchbacks could have their work cut out.
These cars have a tricky brief. Go anywhere, do anything. They've got to cope with it all and come up smiling.
But in making these cars bigger and taller, they could experience handling problems not faced by smaller, more nimble cars. So if you had to swerve to avoid an accident at speed, you want to be certain your car could handle it.
So for this test, we're going to be driving at 60 miles an hour down a simulated motorway, and Penny will have to take the kind of evasive manoeuvre that could easily result in loss of control.
So it's time to see if the new Honda Civic can make it through. We're going to go through at 60 miles an hour in the 1.6 litre ISE. I'll grab third gear.
Oh, God,
Here
I
we
hate
go,
this.
60 miles an hour.
Oh, hello, easy, Tiger. It initially rolls a lot, but then it does settle, so I think the damping's good. What's it like?
Steering's lovely, beautifully light, quite effortless. And hopefully nobody would really have to make such a sort of violent lane change as that, but if you did have to, it's okay.
You could be pretty safe in a Honda.
So now it's time for the Peugeot 307, 1.6 litres again. Again, I'm going to get up to 60 miles an hour, which takes a little bit longer in here.
First thing I noticed is around that left hand, it's more stable, isn't it?
It's much more
It doesn't
stable.
roll as much. Let's see what it's like through the
60
test.
miles an hour, here we go.
I tell you what.
Wow.
Well, look at that.
It's really directional, very pointy, very accurate.
There doesn't seem to be any understeer, any oversteer
No.
at all. This car seems very neutrally balanced.
And it's
very
so direct. You really get a brilliant feed through the wheel. It's just the right weight in it.
It's a bit heavier than you would expect, isn't it? But it's nice.
I just think the gearbox lets it down. Last for the slalom is the Citroen Picasso 1.6. Now, it's a mini MPV, remember, so you're up high. It's a very different driving experience. It feels more like a van than a car, and I'm struggling to get up to 60.
It's like an old Leviathan.
We're hardly going to get up to 60. Oh,
Way! Oh my goodness!
I didn't think I was going to make it.
It's not so bad, but it's rolly, it's unreactive, it doesn't feel very well damped.
You feel very remote from the steering, and it's all kind of happening way in front of you, behind you.
I'll tell you what, sweetheart. You've earned this.
Yeah.
No, come on.
Good,
I
isn't it?
would pay £1 for that at Fault Park. That was a white knuckle ride. That was worth every penny.
I've only got some mints, we
Wait.
accept them. The Peugeot is going to be a high score because it was really quite drivable.
Yeah.
It's good round the town, it's easy to drive, it's comfy.
The gearbox really lets that car down.
Well, it's not
too
so
long
bad.
a
It's only a
throw,
bit of a throw, though, isn't it?
and it's knuckly, and the clutch is too high. And I just think if they could get a really sporty gearbox in the Peugeot, it would be absolutely mint.
All right, so let's give them some points. What do you think for the Picasso? I think that comes right down below the 15 mark, about 14.
I was going to say 14. Actually.
Yeah,
14.
14 the drivability for the Picasso.
Honda,
Honda's a good drive.
16,
Honda is a good
It's
drive.
better than that.
is it?
It
I
is
think
better
it's
than
better
that.
than that.
I've done a lot of miles in that car, Pen.
Yeah,
I've been
I have
using
too.
it.
17.
Actually,
No,
it's
I
very
think it's about
comfy.
17.
Peugeot,
One more, 18.
One more, 18.
18. It's let down by its gearbox.
18 for the Peugeot, 17 for the Honda, 14 for the Citroen.
We get to drive some fantastic motors, and now it's your turn. Motordrive is your chance to test drive some of Britain's top-selling cars.
Motordrive is going to be held at Millbrook Proving Ground in Bedfordshire on the 27th and 28th of October. Log on to 4car.co.uk for details, and we'll see you there. And because we're still nice people, we're giving away a further 2 free tickets to Motordrive. All you have to do is predict which car will win tonight's Driven 100 and its final score. Simple. Phone lines are open now. Call 090 1303 1303. That's 090 1303 1303.
Technology. It moves on so fast it won't be long before we'll be having holidays on the surface of the moon. And look at me. I can take my office with me absolutely anywhere. And it's even stopped us talking to each other because these days we use SMS, text messaging. And at the forefront of motoring technology is this, the new Mercedes-Benz SL, their flagship sports car. Built once every decade, everyone's an instant classic, packed to the rafters with the latest gadgets and gizmos. The SL, or Superlight, is an important car for Mercedes. It's the jewel in the crown, a statement of where they are now and where they're going to be in the future. But are there too many SL bells and whistles? Could they detract from the pure motoring experience?
Kick it.
The cabin pays homage to the SL Gullwing from the 50s, but this is more than just a pastiche of a classic. This is a thoroughly modern machine. The driving position is flawless. The seating position is infinitely adjustable. I've got air conditioning, heating and massaging in my seat. In fact, I can't think of another car that I can get this comfortable in. However, there are a couple of switches that feel a bit flimsy, and you don't expect that from Mercedes. But that's a minor irritation because in terms of firepower, there's a 5-litre V8 all-aluminium engine. It develops 306 brake horsepower that gets you to a limited 155 miles an hour. 60 comes up in around 6 seconds. Now, Mercedes claim that the chassis is a technical triumph too, due to ABC, active body control. Basically, there's a computer wearing its way underneath that's monitoring the load settings and forces put upon the suspension and adjusting it accordingly without spoiling comfort. And I've got to tell you, throwing it into these tight bends, I can't feel any body roll in this car at all. It's like a limpet, safe and reassuring. And if that's not enough, the SL pioneers sensortronic brake control. Yet again, a computer monitors the speed and pressure that the driver hits the brake pedal and applies braking accordingly to each wheel. There's only one problem with the new SL, and that's actually getting your hands on one. Mercedes plan to bring in 1,400 next year, and every single one of them has a deposit on it. This is one of the most coveted premium rate cars there will ever be. Prices will start around £70,000, but for those of you with a fat enough wallet and a big enough desire to get yourself on the waiting list, you can expect to pay 100 grand. The list of gadgets you get for that small fortune is endless. There's a button for everything. And a remarkable piece of engineering, the largest boot in its class for a hard folding roof. But can it continue to hold its own in what's become a fiercely competitive sector? No bones about it, the new Mercedes-Benz SL is stunning, an instant classic. But do all those gadgets make the driving experience more remote? I don't think so. The car's poised, balanced, and it actually rewards good driving. Jaguar, Porsche and Lexus will be sweating buckets when that car hits the streets.
Back to the Driven 100 space race.
Right, desirability. Now, these cars may be well proportioned on the inside, but it's their outsides that'll have to make the right impression in the neighbourhood. So which car will win our cul-de-sac challenge? We've called together a local meeting of the people of Cardenham to see what they think. Right, you lot, in you come, spread yourself amongst them and tell us what you think.
I see more roomy in the front than in either of the other two.
It really is.
The boot would be big enough for me to get my pushchair in width-wise.
But this is sort of one of the first cars that I can drive and he can sit behind me.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, well, in most cars, if the seat's back, your knees are squished up and it's like extremely uncomfortable on long journeys or even short journeys.
And it's a comfortable driving position. He's got plenty of leg room, so
Yeah.
That's good.
Right, we're there now. No, we're not. Yes, we are.
Right then, ladies, Peugeot 307. Initial impressions, what do you think?
Nice styling. I like the silver bits around the dials there. Nice streamlined.
I think you could quite see yourself in this round town, huh?
I could.
So, ladies, what do you think of this?
Nice for a lady, because it's small, and I think ladies tend to go for smaller cars. And it feels very comfortable for me.
Exterior styling?
Yes, I like the look of it from the outside.
If you had to pick the best one?
Out of the three,
Yeah.
I'd go for the Honda.
Right, out. Out. If you don't like it, get out.
How about the feel in the space inside? Do you like all that?
It does look nice and roomy. I'm not too keen on the dash. I prefer to be able to look straight down at the clocks rather than have to keep on looking to the middle of the dash.
Oh, it's got plenty of headroom and plenty of leg room, but it's not my favourite car, that's for sure.
What don't you like about it?
I certainly don't like the dash. And I don't like the front of the car, it seems so far away.
I'm not too impressed with this thing, because if you bring it out and you're quite big, you
Can't get it down on his knees.
Can't get it right down.
So is it a thumbs down?
Yes, it's a thumbs down.
Right, the people of Cardenham have taken up our cul-de-sac challenge, but it's time to find out what car they really do fancy. OK, everyone, stand next to the car that you most desire.
You know you want a Honda Civic. Fantastic.
Yeah, I will
Oh, this is marvellous.
Pen, how many you got?
I've got a grand total of 11.
Jace?
I've got 14, mate.
Liar.
I've got 4.
And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. So it looks like the people of Cardenham have clearly gone for Swindon's finest, the Honda Civic.
The Peugeot gets our vote, so we put it level with the Citroen at 15. But the clear people's choice was the Honda with a very commanding 18.
There'll be more from the Driven 100 in part 2. And don't forget, for your chance to win 2 tickets to Motordrive, call 090 1303 1303 with your prediction of this week's winning car and its final score.
Welcome back. We're putting huge hatches and a mini MPV to the test in the Driven 100. But first, Jaguar's new X-Type. It's aimed squarely at a younger market and is a direct competitor to the Audi A4 and the sporty BMW 3 Series. But have Jaguar got it right? To find out, we're depriving the Butler family of their 3 Series and giving them the new 4-wheel drive X-Type. Meet Richard and Annie from Nottingham and their 3 children, Alex, Finn and Christy.
I think it looks very nice. It's got a certain quality about it. It seems to sit on the road very nicely.
Very solid, nice, low to the ground, very safe-looking vehicle. Good family car.
We're off on the school run
today, this morning with the boys. How do you like the car, boys?
It can crash on the grass.
It can crash on the grass. Well, let's hope it doesn't. The things I look for in a car are something that's easy to drive. With having 3 children, the last thing you want to be doing is concentrating on your driving. So I look for something that's nice and easy to drive. And a safe car for me is very important. The seats are a good shape for child seats, and I know that sounds a strange thing to say, but some of them don't take car seats very well, and this one does. Off the road, little bird.
I got some things in here.
I find the interior of this car a little bit bland, quite old-fashioned really, but not offensive. I think the Jaguar is aimed at an older age group than us, perhaps with not as many children, not a young family.
In my spare time, I go racing, and I absolutely think it's fantastic. Of course, the racing car is very responsive, so on a day-to-day basis, I'm looking for something that just gives me a little bit of feedback when I'm driving around the roads. I've been driving the car for a few days, and bearing in mind Jaguar's fantastic racing heritage, I've really been looking forward to it. But I have to say, I've just found it a little bit bland. I'd expected something a little bit more exciting. As a motorway drive, it's very comfortable, very smooth. The engine noise is quite quiet, so it's not very taxing on your senses. The four-wheel drive has definitely given me good grip through the corners. I'd feel that in unfavourable conditions, it really could get you out of trouble.
We're having a new house built, and I've got a site meeting this morning, so let's take it along and see what the lads think about this X-Type.
Here's Annie.
It looks a bit bland on the outside. It looks more like an old man type car.
It just needs to be a little bit more sporty, I think.
You could see a woman in here, and people would turn their heads. Yeah. Definitely turn their heads to see a woman driving one of these.
Still think it's an old man's car. Director's car.
Yeah.
Well, Christy, what did you think of it?
I like the BMW because it's a lot sportier than the Jaguar.
Got used to riding it, nice smooth ride, nice safe car, but in another 20 years.
Well, I really wanted to like the Jaguar, and there's a lot of good points about it, like the four-wheel drive, but at the end of the day, I just found it a bit boring and bland, so I think I'll stick with my BMW.
So it seems Jaguar may have got it wrong. We'll find out more when we group test the X-Type later in the series.
There's just a few minutes left to call 090 1303 1303 and enter our competition to win 2 tickets to Motordrive. All you have to do is predict the winning car and its score in this week's Driven 100. Talking of which, how practical are our suburban stars?
It can be a stressful time when the nippers leave home and go to university, but with Dad's ancient hatchback miserably failing to do the job, it looks like Anna's first term will get off to a shaky start. But good news for her, she's got 3 extremely helpful neighbours.
Appearances can be deceptive, and despite being shorter, the new Civic is actually bigger on the inside than the previous model. Right, so the first thing to do is get the seats up. It's got this real nifty way of flicking forward, and you've got to take the headrests out, which is quite simple.
Right. Look at that, that goes in. Lovely. Come on. You're right there, Jace.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'll put the bush in the front.
It's quite surprising, actually, because the shape, the awkwardness of the items means it's quite difficult to actually load anything in neatly.
There's a stamp here that's not been franked. If you steam that off,
Student
you can use that again.
This is not great, but we'll just see if it closes. Lots of awkward items with not too much drama. Let's see how the Peugeot 307 gets on.
OK, so the competition's tough, and the 307 looks like a 206 with too much air in, but it is roomy, and I reckon it's up to the job. This is nice, man. Electronic boot release, like that.
That's good. Very much like the Honda, this car has a 60-40 split in the rear seats. Guys, you look like you're struggling there.
No, we're just not very coordinated.
It's the same mechanism as the previous car.
Exactly the same as the Honda.
But it's not as flat, is it, as the Honda?
It doesn't look as big either, does it?
Right, forward first. The broken hobby horses. I can manage both of these.
That goes in the back.
Sweet up.
That plant's not going to go in, is it?
No, it's gone in a tree.
Oh, it's all going to go in.
It's quite deceptive, isn't it? It doesn't look anywhere near as big as a Honda.
No.
But in reality...
It's all gone in.
It is as big.
It's all in.
Will it shut?
Right,
yeah.
let's have a listen. Wait for the glass.
Oh!
Not bad. Now, as the only MPV on test, I reckon I'm onto a sure thing with the Citroen Picasso, because not only did the seats fold flat, but they also fold forward and you can take them out. But for the sake of this test, I don't think we need to take them out. We just fold them forward. I'm sure we get all the kit in.
And once the parcel shelves out, look at that. It's huge.
Yeah, this ball goes straight in the back. And look at the size of the load area in this thing. It's very wide, a nice low sill. Everything can get bunged in nice and simply. Let's have the case next. That goes in. Stereo. This is good, isn't it? Look at it, it's swallowing it. What you gain with an MPV is much more height than you get over the other two.
I'm going to put that there.
Where's that plant?
All right, the plant might stand up in the back here, Mike.
And Anna, there's even enough room for you to jump in the back of this car. There you go, shut it down. So it's pretty conclusive to me that there's more than enough space in the Citroen Picasso to move Anna on to a university.
So when it comes to loading, the Citroen Picasso graduates with honours, while the Honda and the Peugeot go to the bottom of the class.
But if you want space without making a hole in your wallet, here's my suggestion.
And what's this I found for you, you may wonder? Well, I'll tell you. It's a Mitsubishi Space Star. Never heard of one? Well, you should have done, because they're cheap, reliable and safe. Now, you can go for a 1.3, a 1.6, but my recommendation is the 1.8 GDI. Its practicality lies in the fact that it's got loads of space and a rear seat that not only folds flat, but also slides forwards and backwards. So what to look out for? Well, they're a mini MPV, so you want to make sure the kiddies ain't kicked the interior to pieces. Also, look out for damage around the corners of the bodywork and on the wheels. A 99 on a T with 22,000 miles has set you back around £8,500. But for that, you get a whole heap of extras. But where are you going to find one? Well, at a Mitsubishi dealer like this, but don't rule out the classifieds. Good luck.
For more alternatives and other great bargains, log on to 4car.co.uk. But are this week's Driven 100 cars a steal to run? Our cost of ownership figures are based on all running costs over 3 years, minus insurance.
I'll tell you what, the cost of living these days has really come down, hasn't it?
Hasn't it just?
It's quite cheap now to do your bit of shopping.
I'll do your packing, shall I?
Yeah, sorry.
For instance, what have we got here? We've got Pearl Barley, that's 39 pence. That's the same price per mile as my Peugeot 307. That gives it a score of what, 20?
20.
20 it scores.
Now, hang on a minute. 41p. For a tin of dog food, that's the same price per mile as my Honda Civic, giving it a score of 19.
Terrine cod tuna, 41p a tin. Same price cost per mile figure as my Citroen Picasso, and that also gives it a score of 19. Cheap.
Keep packing, come on.
So in our great driven space race, who's the TARDIS and who's the telephone box? Here's the final scores.
So we put a mini MPV up against two spacious hatchbacks and it come in a credible third. That's because the Citroen Picasso offers optimum interior space at a cracking price.
As pretty as it is, spacious and great to drive, the new Peugeot 307 is a super little car. But unfortunately in this test, it just doesn't have the all-round abilities of the new Honda Civic.
So there you have it. This week's winner is the all-new Honda Civic on 73 points. It's brilliant to drive, it's got masses of space, it's a great all-round package. We'll see you next week.
Next week, join us for a Driven special. We'll be bringing you the final of our viewer-reviewer competition and all the action from Motordrive. If you want to be there with us, call 0870 121 1229. That's 0870 121 1229.
For more information on Motordrive, sponsored by the AA, you can go to 4car.co.uk.
There's no motor show this year, so here at Driven we thought we'd stage our very own, which is a fantastic new concept. The only motor show where you get to drive the cars.
And next week we will be direct from the show, so even if you can't make it there, you won't miss out on the UK motor event of the year.
So join us for a Driven special next Tuesday at 8 on 4.